All right, we are here with Andy Hrovat, who is back in Ann Arbor after a couple of years. You retired from competition this summer, June, July?
End of June, early July.
But you've been really busy coaching since then. Talk about some of the places you've been since July.
When I retired, I was back in Colorado Springs after being in Russia. And, talking with Zeke and Brandon Slay, they wanted me to help with the team this summer. So I was in Colorado Springs all summer with the national team, helping workouts and everything on a day-to-day basis there. And when they went to the World Championships, I went to overtime, and I was at overtime for 9 weeks. And then those athletes went to their high schools. So I went from overtime, and then I was kind of traveling for almost a month with coaching in Vancouver, coaching the New York Athletic Club at the New York Athletic Club, national team camp in Hoboken, coaching the U.S. team in France, and then quick trip to Florida to watch my girlfriend play golf, and then to Vegas for the Vegas tournament, and then finally back to Ann Arbor. I got situated and then had to leave for the holidays, but now I'm back here, and I'm going to be working with the freestyle guys, and I'm real excited. We have some trips coming up, just finished putting together our schedule and everything through the Olympic trials, and it's just exciting right now.
Are you looking forward to being settled down for a while? You like living out of a bag. You like traveling. so are you looking forward to staying here for a little while?
I do. I like traveling, but it'll be nice to have like a full month where I could work with guys, train them, and do everything like that on a day-to-day basis. We could see the growth and see what you're implementing in practice and how you're doing things, how it's helping their wrestling, and just making them open up as wrestlers, and that's what I want to do. And there's a couple things that I've picked up over the last couple years, and that we started doing in Colorado Springs that we plan on doing here with some of the guys, and it just opens up their wrestling and makes them think freer and have more confidence in the skills they already have. Doing some of that stuff, and then getting them ready for the competitions. That's going to be exciting because I'm going to be the coach. Sean, Brumett, Donnie, and Joe, they're here with the Michigan guys. They can't see the freestyle guys in action. So I'm going to be there. I'm going to see how they make weight. I want to see how they compete. And then bring all that information back. Tweak the training schedule a little bit in between competitions and everything. And it's my first experience with having to do schedules and stuff like that, and I have Sean helping and everybody else around, so it'll be fun. It's a learning experience, and it's a good time. It's being the Olympic year.
Well, and you have some coaching experience. Obviously, you're here at Michigan for several years, but how has the transition been from you were doing full-time competing for a couple of years to full-time coaching now?
Yeah, well, when I was here, I was coaching and I was working guys one-on-one, but I never really had to do scheduling. I never had to put together competition schedules and have to deal with any of that stuff. Joe always did that, and with college, you have to have everything prepared a year in advance. With freestyle, like we just found out this morning that the Ukraine tournament was pushed up a few days, which pushes our whole training camp up a few days, which changes because we were supposed to go to Dave Schultz, so now we don't know. We got to get a hold of Zeke, and we got to work out the schedule with him. It's probably a nightmare for him as well, because Zeke wants to have all this stuff set. And I know with dealing with foreign competitions and foreigners, like you just have to, just be flexible, and you have to have that personality, and you can't be uptight and be like, oh, they changed it, it's ruined, And that's the different thing, and before it's just helping guys one-on-one with stuff I was seeing overseas or stuff I was learning from other people, bringing it, showing them how it could relate to their wrestling, or maybe someone's style, something I picked up, someone's real similar to them. But now it's just a different, it's more managing. You have to have manager skills, Zeke's like the general manager of USA Wrestling. Like he's not just coaching and stuff. He's putting together all the schedules, and that's a lot different, and it's fun. It's exciting to do it, and to talk to all the athletes. It's a lot different, but it's great, and I think I had the personality, the skill set to be able to manage people and get them together, and being able to write out the schedule. So it's fun.
What do you think are some of your best attributes that you can bring to the coaching staff on the club?
Well, I mean, I could relate to guys a lot, and right now, like out of all the guys here, I mean, I've spent the most time overseas, so technique overseas, those Russians wrestle each other all the time, and what may have worked last year is not always going to work this year. There's certain techniques that come and go year to year. There's certain techniques that are always going to stay because they're solid techniques, but some of the tricks these people are doing, I've been there, I've seen it, I know what people are doing, I know how it's evolving, and some of that stuff, especially when you get on the edge of the mat, it gets tricky. What guys are, those guys are trying to trick you into doing stuff, just to get to that one point, because it's huge in international wrestling, getting at one point. You got two guys that are world-class going at it. They have world-class defense, they have world-class offense, and sometimes it's that one point that doesn't. People don't realize how intricate some of the small things are when you're dealing with going out of bounds and some of that stuff. So.
And then talk about some of the club guys we've got here. You have long experience with Tyrell, with Jake, with Josh, but then some guys that you're maybe a little less familiar with, like Jimmy Kennedy, Andrew Howe, Mike Poeta. How are you looking forward to working with them?
It's great. Ty I've worked with a ton, and he was one of my main training partners. When he was at U of M, I was training with him day to day, and we worked a lot, and I helped him a lot, and he helped me a lot. And this is kind of his first year wrestling freestyle. He's been injured, and he was at Cal Poly last year, but he was injured. He was coming off a knee injury, I think a shoulder surgery as well, and now he's healthy, and I could already see him progressing tournament to tournament. I didn't see him at Sunkist. I was coaching at Overtime still, but through the AC to Las Vegas, the Olympic qualifying tournament, he's gotten already a ton better, and he's going to continue that just with the competitions. And we have to talk to him about this new change of schedule, but I think it's going to be better for him. We're going to get him some more competitions, get him qualified for the trials, and he's going to be right there. He's a sleeper, but when he was competing in Tough in 08, he beat Jake, he beat some other guys. He's right there. He has the skill set and the strength and the wrestling smarts to be there. He just needs the competition. Jake is the seasoned veteran. I've trained a lot with him as well. At camps, at Overtime, and even Colorado Springs and everything. And I've helped him out a lot. In the past, he's helped me out a lot. Just by being peers. And now working with him, I know his style. I know who he has to wrestle. Both those guys, were in my weight class, so I know who they're competing against. So I can help them out a lot with those guys because I've had things I've never told people about people I'm competing. The stuff I've picked up. How to break guys, how to trick guys, how to beat guys. Just different styles. You have to wrestle with different guys, and I could be helpful to them. And the other guys, Andrew, he's great, and Poeta, and all those guys. And Jimmy's the biggest. He's a sponge, man. He's been getting better and better, and he's going to be a guy to beat at 60 kilos because he's big, he's strong, he's athletic, and kick your asshole. So it's going to be exciting, to just learn from those guys and. Help them, just small things. Freestyle is small. They're already at this point. They already have their base technique. It's just having to coach them to constantly remind them, hey, we're working on everything base, everything base, everything base. So they're perfect with what they're good at, and we're going to get what they're good at to world class, so they're going to be able to score the best takedown on the best guy in the world. And, that's how you become a champion, I've done the research, I've looked at the film. The guys who are winning world titles aren't winning world titles because they're good at 10 different moves. They're winning world titles because they're world class and they're the best at the one move they do. You say some of these guys' names in the world, boom, you're like, okay, he's the best in the world at single legs, and it's obvious why he won his world title. Bill Zadek, when he won his world title, his high crotch was unbelievable. No one could stop it. So I've seen it happen. I've seen it work, and we're just going to work to improve everything that these guys are doing to make the one thing world class, unstoppable, and get everything else up to par. And just get their confidence. You know, it's all wrestling at this level is just confidence. You know, knowing that you could win, and you know, having faith in your coaches and being prepared. So, just small things.
All right, and then you've expressed your affinity for freestyle, you know, numerous times, and you're staying open-minded, you know, as you begin your coaching career. But you are interested in staying in freestyle. What is it about freestyle that you love so much?
Ever since I was a kid, when I was 8 years old, I've loved freestyle. You know, my dad got me into it at that time. You know, I did a lot of freestyle, wrestled at the AAU Nationals, and ever since I was a kid, I loved it. I loved the style. You know, I was never one for wanting to get up from underneath a guy or ride a guy and pin him. I loved the takedowns. I loved the turning, the throwing. You know, just being open and creative. You know, different stuff. And you know, it's more tactical than college wrestling. You know, college wrestling, you know, for the last 20, 30 years has been a brute, you know, battle, you know, hand to hand, boom, banging guys and beating them up and physically imposing your will on somebody. You know, with freestyle, you could do that, but when you're at the highest level of freestyle, you're wrestling guys that are the best in the world. You're not just going to take another grown man, you know, 25-year-old Azerbaijan guy. You're not going to take him with your bare hands, throw him down on the mat and pin him. You know, you could do that in college. You can impose your will on somebody. You can break them. It's harder to do that when you're dealing with professionals and you're dealing with the world's best. So there's a lot more that goes into it with, you know, having to trick guys and, you know, smart them. And, you know, and I always loved that. You know, I always loved being the smartest guy out there, knowing my opponents and knowing their tendencies and knowing how I could score on them and setting certain things up, even if it wasn't for that period, setting it up for, you know, later in the match. And that's what I've always loved about it. And, you know, I continue to love it. You know, I mean, I love college wrestling as well. You know, you can't beat the atmosphere. You know, you can't beat going to the NCAA tournament and having, you know, 15 to 20,000 fans there, you know, every session. But it's good. You know, I'm keep my options open, and you know, we'll see in the next couple of months when the wrestling world opens up its jobs.
All right, Andy. Thank you. Welcome back to Ann Arbor.
Thank you.